Hello, Chris Walker with Big Angie Fan Channel, and I'm just going to get right into it here. I fairly often see in comments to my videos and other videos about Angelina Jordan, well, why doesn't she write her own songs? So in answer to you guys, here are my top 10 of Angelina Jordan originals. Now some of you who are fans are going to be saying, wait a minute, 10? Doing the math in your head. You'll see how this works out. Okay, number 10 is Above the Water. This is an original in the sense that it was written for her, specifically to sing, and the first version of it that came out was with Angelina Jordan singing. It's an EDM song, and the reason it's number 10 is, well, because it's an EDM song. It's not really in Angelina Jordan's wheelhouse per se, although you could argue that everything's in her wheelhouse, and she pulls it off very well. And another reason that it's only number 10, besides not being in her wheelhouse, is just that it doesn't showcase her voice as much as I would like. But if you go to about the 2-minute point, there's a little section where her voice is electronically altered. And of course her voice needs no alteration, but her voice is so interesting that I could see how somebody could get really creative with an extended section of an EDM song just featuring Angelina's voice altered in creative ways. So there's two different versions of this on the web, one featuring some dancers and the other really doesn't have any imagery, but you should really check out that one because that will help Angelina Jordan more. Okay, so that's number 10. Okay, coming in at number 9 is Shield. I know a lot of Angelina Jordan fans would rate this higher than I do, but for me it's not as dynamic as some of her other songs. This is the first song on this list that is written by her, or at least co-written. There's some question as to how much of it she wrote, if it was mainly just the lyrics or if she wrote some of the music too. But it is, one thing that's good about it is there's several different alternate versions of it, and some of the less well-known ones are actually my favorites. My favorite version of it is fairly obscure. It's from Boris Palanovsky's channel, a concert that she gave in 2019, and she actually sang it twice at that concert. This is the encore version that you really should check out. I think that's the best version of Shield.
You are right there, always right there, for then I am grateful. So please live your life through. You are fire when I can sing. You're the one that you know me. You are my fire. Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 8 is Angelina Jordan's original composition, Oslo. This has some very beautiful passages. I don't rank it as high as some of her later songs, mainly because of the lyrics are not as sophisticated as they got in later songs. It's more just kind of a description of the beauties of Norway. And as such, it's very nice. There's some wonderful imagery there, and this one also has a lot of versions, and one that I suggest you check out is my vertical video version I made, where the video is a combination of several different performances and the audio is from her wonderful Kongsberg, Norway performance, where there's not really very good video of it at all, but so I kind of have a little bit of the video of that and then other video from rehearsals, but it also features the lyrics. So with all of these, almost all of them have several different versions, and you should definitely check out alternate versions as well as the first ones that pop up if you do a search.
Round and round she goes, caught the tides of rainbows remind her that this will not last.
Alright, coming in at number 7 is Angelina's original composition, What is Life? Her lyrics were definitely starting to get more sophisticated with this one. I remember when I first heard it, there was the line that I thought was, life is like a thief that's stealthy in the night. So that's kind of a literal image of a thief stealing through the night. But actually, I came to realize that life is like a tear that's stealthy in the night. And that's a much better, more sophisticated line. She has some absolutely gorgeous runs in this song. And again, there's several versions of it on her It's Magic album is one, and then another one is that I especially like is her home studio version where Ivan Mendez is in the background on guitar and Dylan Meek is on piano. He's a jazz guy who has been involved with several Angelina Jordan video productions.
The good and bad. Bye.
Coming in at number 6 is the Song for A. The music was composed specifically for her, and the Russian composer who did the music, specifically asked her to sing the lyrics, which are based on an old Robert Burns poem. And a couple of things that I really like about this. One is it's an example of her voice at its smoothest. I mean, I love her rasp, but I also like it when she makes her voice very smooth. And that's the case with this one. And the other thing that I like about it is an example of her not changing the gender. Now, maybe she was required not to change the gender in this one, but in this case it's kind of, and she has done that on not all, but most of the songs where you could change the gender, where she's talking about a boy instead of a girl in a romantic kind of lyric. Most of the songs she does not do that. And so I think this is a choice she's making. I don't know if she did it in this song, but in this song she's talking about, kissing somebody. It's a romantic encounter it talks about. So that, is interesting that she chose to not change the gender. And people can read things into that I think are totally inappropriate given her age, especially at the time, which was age 10. But just, a really gorgeous original from Angelina Jordan.
I kissed her over and over again among the ridges of barley, among the ridges of barley. But by the moon and stars so bright that shone that I was so clearly,
All right, I'm back on a different day here. Ran out of time last time. Number 5 of Angelina Jordan Originals is Seventh Heaven, her most recent song written by her, and you can really see the growth in the lyrics. I especially like the line, "Seventh heaven on my shoulder falls heavy," kind of mixing a positive image and a negative one. And I think that has to do with this being a very introspective song, talking about, feeling strong when things are going tough. And so for me, the seventh heaven is like the expectations her fans might have of what she's going to do for them, and then it falls heavy like a burden on her. There's a lot of versions of this, including some live versions from her recent concerts. I think she missed out a bit on an opportunity there because she doesn't have backup singers, and so there's a part of the song where she has an extended belt in the studio version that she can't do because she doesn't have her backup singers. So actually, my preferred version of this is the one, their live in studio one, where she does have backup singers, so she can do that extended belt. But definitely, with all of these songs, always check out alternate versions. All right, moving on to number 4 now. And this is where you'll first get an indication of what I'm doing with the top 10, like, how does it add up to 10 originals? And number 4 is just kind of a general category, I'm going to say, of her ability to arrange songs in a different way, that they become totally transformed and they become like Angelina Jordan songs rather than a cover. Now, in movie awards, they have like awards for best adapted screenplay for material from another medium, or they even give you an adapted screenplay award if it's like, if it's adapted from a screenplay from an earlier movie version of the same thing. So I think it's fair to say that this is, original creativity for her. I'm just going to, have it in a category for all of her songs that she does this in, but there's certain big standouts, and I'll just name 2 of them. One is her performance of Bohemian Rhapsody, her rearrangement of Bohemian Rhapsody at America's Got Talent, The Champions. That one, she used the second verse rather than the first verse. I mean, it was partly because, there's time constraints, but she could have easily used the first verse, but she chose the second verse. She started out a cappella. The kind of bombastic middle section of the song where there's kind of a fake opera, she just replaced that with this one long, beautiful extended belt. So there's many ways that that's like an Angelina Jordan song. It's just completely different, and that's all her arranging. That's her writing, her arranging. And another very big standout for me is Wicked Game, the Chris Isaak song. She's just kind of sitting there at her music corner at home, doodling, but she just creates this masterpiece of a greatly slowed down version of the song that just sounds totally different from the original, and to my ears anyway, much, much better. So yes, that one is, so number 4 is just Angelina's arranging skills.
The world was on fire, and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like you. I don't wanna fall in love. I don't wanna fall in love with you.
All right, for number 3, I want to showcase an original work that I wish got a lot more attention than it does, and that is her book, Between Two Hearts. I mean, when I read this book, I cried. It's the story of her encounter with the shoeless girl in Iran, and it's the story of why she always goes barefoot. But when I first got this book, I was ready to think, okay, people are overrating this because it's a child and everything, and so they're saying it's good for a child. But no, this was like what an adult poet might write. I mean, it was very moving. It was sophisticated in the sense that it was like done mostly in the present tense. Talking about it as if it was happening right then. And so that is an original work that just towers above so many original works by famous composers. And it's it's not a song, but it's definitely an amazingly expressive work for her. So I'm putting that at number 3. All right, number 2, and this would have been number 1 earlier, is I'm Still Holding Out for You. Now this is one where you could say it's a bit of a stretch to call it an original because it wasn't expressly written for her to sing, but I think it's fair to call it original in the sense that she was the first who came out with a version of it. I mean, there's some evidence that maybe the original writer, Baby Fuzz, came out with this really bad, rough version before her version came out, but of any versions that are at all well known, hers was the first that came out. And I mean, just what a superb song. Or, you know, just her singing in this one is so great. I did a mashup comparing the Baby Fuzz version and her version. There's just no comparison. For me, it's just it's far superior. And this was a 10-year-old girl singing this amazing vocal. So there's the one fan video that came out of it, but you should definitely check that one out. All right, now my number 1 original work by Angelina Jordan is her original song Million Miles. Now earlier I would not have put this quite as high, but in her recent concerts in Norway this summer of 2022, she did her rearranging thing where her own song, she rearranged it to make it slower. I mean, it was already a very emotional song, but she slowed it down and did closer to like a spoken voice in a lot of the song. It just made it even that much more emotional than it already was. Another change that she did, but she has this beautiful run towards the end of the song that she extended for quite a bit more, kind of making it like a cry of pain. And I was there for one of her performances of this, and I was just blown away. I was crying, and then I looked at the person next to me, and he was crying. And so, you know, this is just, you know, an example, a beautiful example of how she can bring out the emotion, and you know, she's also, you know, rearranging it, so she's kind of making another version of her own song. So it's just absolutely brilliant. I suggest you listen to either the Kongsberg version from 2022 or the July 10th version. Either one is just totally brilliant. The July 7th one does have a TV version of it where it's better sound. Just amazing song, you know, how she can ring out the emotion. So those are my top 10 songs for top 10 original works by Angelina Jordan for those who say that she's just a cover artist. And you know, I also say that even if she were just a cover artist, you know, so what? There's a lot of brilliant singers who almost entirely did covers, such as most jazz singers like you know, Frank Sinatra or Ella Fitzgerald. Linda Ronstadt was a pop singer who, you know, was one of the best pop singers, and almost all of her songs were covers. But you know, she also she also has a lot of original material, songs written for her or songs that she's written, and arranging that she's done, and that beautiful book that she wrote. So Angelina Jordan is a real genius, and you need to check her out. All these songs I've been talking about, I'll have links for in the description below. It's been Chris Walker with Big Angie Fan here in beautiful Hawaii. Aloha.